And welcome to the Coach's Corner post-game report tonight. Bobcats played, 4 games in 5 nights right here. Again, we talked last night about what a challenge it was going to be, that Al Jefferson had been on a roll, really playing great basketball. Well, his water got turned off tonight, though. First chance for the Bobcats to show what they could do if Al had an off game, and the results were
a Bobcats win. I mean, we talked about it last night. We didn't really know that Al Jefferson was only going to come out and score 6 points, but we knew that him going against Mark Gasol, even throwing Zach Randolph down there, when you have a team like that with size, Gasol is one of the best defensive centers in the NBA. You knew it was going to be tough, and Al came out. He struggled shooting the ball. Still had 9 rebounds. He played hard. Didn't try to force it. He tried to get his shots when he could, but the other guys stepped up when he had the off night. Kemba Walker mainly led the way with a 30-point game. So good to see that from him. 31, I think, is what he finished with. A 92-89 win, another one down the stretch where they had to get a defensive stop at the end of the game, and they were able to come up with it. And like everybody was talking about in the locker room, first time this team's won 4 in a row in a while.
And again, it was a good team win, like you mentioned. Kemba stepped up with the scoring. Tolliver gave them some scoring off the bench. Defensive in the post, you had Cody, you had Biz playing good in there, though. A lot of things that will not show up in the box score that I'm holding right here, though, but were things that coaches will notice, though. Good performance with everybody that participated tonight.
Absolutely, Coach. You talked about it, a team win. 4 guys that are not going to probably get any mention in this game, but did the small things like you talked about, whether it was the cuts, the passes, the defense. You talk about a guy like Josh McRoberts, who everybody talks about as the glue guy. He was able to keep his team together. You talk about a guy like MKG. You talked about Cody and Biz. They really played solid games on the defensive end, and that's what you got to do against a good team like the Grizzlies. You knew this was going to be a defensive battle, and to come out and get a win on top, I'm telling you, man, if this team is really rolling right now, and I think one thing we need to talk about a little more is just how close this team is together, how they have one common goal, and it's great to see, and it's fun to cover as broadcasters. I mean, so really good job to win 4 in a row, and like you said, get a tough win here to end the week.
Nothing better as a player to know your teammates have got your back. And tonight, Al realized that. He was 2 out of 13 from the floor, did not shoot the ball well, but tried to do things like Coach Clifford mentioned there too, of screening, moving without the ball. He knew he was not having a good game, but tried to free up some other people to make plays, which they were able to do.
Right, and that's what a veteran does. I mean, Al knows that he's one of the better scorers when it comes to low post scoring in the league, but he also knows that it's all about winning, and if he's having an off night, then he's got to do the things to get other guys involved, and he showed that on the court tonight, and the other guys showed it. I mean, just guys stepping up, being there for each other. You talk about Tolliver having a good game. There were times when he was too unselfish. Had a wide open shot looking for other guys, but that's just how this team is. They love to get everybody involved, and they love to play together and be there for one another, and that's one of the strengths of this team, and it showed tonight out there to get a tough, gritty win, and it's a good win to get before you head out on a tough stretch.
Well, I think it's a particularly big win, too, because you got to stop and think. The Bobcats were 3 players short tonight, with Al not having a good game, though, and still found a way to win against a team that right now would definitely be a playoff team in the West and would be sitting 3rd in the East if they played in the East.
Yeah, you talk about not having the 2 new guys again, Neal and Ridnour, but then normally who's your backup shooting guard now, Chris Douglas Roberts. He got banged up last night and had to have stitches. His eye was swollen, so he couldn't go. So you had to insert a guy like Ben Gordon, who hadn't played in forever. He comes in, he didn't shoot well, but like you said, I think even with him not playing in a long time, and there's rumors of him being bought out, he still played in a team game. He didn't go out there and try to do too much, and I think that again shows how close this team is together for a guy who hardly ever plays, who's making some of the most money on the team. He's got to be frustrated he's not playing. He's talking about being bought out and not even being here. For him to come out and still play within a team game and play it with his teammates like that says a lot about this team.
Great atmosphere tonight, though. On a back-to-back Saturday night, the fans turned out, got very vocal, and it seemed almost like a playoff atmosphere the way the game ended. The final shot of the game was a 3 that was in and out that looked like it was going to go to force overtime, but the Hornets / Bobcats / Horncats, whoever they are tonight, actually got a break.
Yeah, and I think I was telling somebody before the game tonight that last night was a moment for the fans that I saw where it finally hit the fans in the building like, man, this team has got a chance to make a playoff push, and all of these games, no matter who it's against, whether it's a team that you don't really want to come out and see because they don't have any star power, no matter what, it's big games for the Bobcats. There was a time last night against the Pelicans where it was a close game. Al Jefferson gets an offensive rebound and gets an and one, and this place exploded. And then the same thing tonight, Coach. Down the stretch, that last half of the fourth quarter, there was not a lot of people sitting in their seats for the last 8 minutes. They were standing up. They were into the game. They were chanting defense. They were behind their team, just like the team that plays together. And you can kind of feel something special building around this team and building around this city. They're already ready for the name change. They're getting behind this organization. Now you're starting to put winners on the court, winning games. It's an exciting time right here.
And right now, too, it's going to be interesting. The Bobcats have got, 5 days off from playing games before they come back. Yeah. And Coach Clifford confirmed what I said, playing against the Final Four that everybody's predicting. You've got San Antonio, you've got Oklahoma City, you've got the Heat, then the Pacers here. And then he talked about 3 other teams we hadn't even thought about after that are playing well, with Cleveland going to Memphis, and another game on top of that, though, where a 7-game stretch coming up for the Bobcats. If they could find a way to win half of those games, I think if somebody offered, they'd take that right now.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely the most brutal stretch you can go through, like you said, when you play the 4 best records in the NBA. But it's good that this team has confidence. Like they talked about to the game, they're playing with some of the best confidence they've had all year. They believe in one another. It's a perfect timing to have the 4 days off to get your new guys integrated, to have them ready for Friday night when you go to San Antonio. And like you said, Coach, it's going to be, I can't really put into words how tough this stretch is going to be. So if they do happen to go out there and go on a little losing streak, I don't think it's any indication of the team. It's just how good a teams they're playing. But like you said, if they can go in there and steal a couple on the road, it's going to get their confidence up to get through that stretch.
And one thing now, when they're going to play these teams, they've already played these 4 teams or 3 teams coming up once, but they have not played them with the new look Bobcats now. How the new pieces of the puzzle are going to fit in, that will throw a little surprise element out there when they go to San Antonio and those other places, how the new parts of the puzzle are going to fit.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to help. And, hey, let's not forget, like you said, they played these teams earlier this year. The Bobcats have played the Heat close here at home. They played the Heat close on the road. Oklahoma City comes in here, and it took a big fourth quarter from Durant to get them over the top. San Antonio comes in here. It was tied going down the stretch. They almost won in Indiana, where it's almost impossible to win. So the Bobcats have played these teams earlier, and they played with them in close games. So I think they know that they can go out there and play with the team. And I think, like I said, one thing that's going to be big on this road trip, and you know this as a coach, when you go on the road, it's just your team and you and your teammates. You got to come together even closer, and I think that helps this team with how close they are. They're going to go out there and have each other's back. So don't be surprised to see them go out here against these tough teams and be in these ball games.
And the thing about it is, too, the games are played on the court, which you can see them taking up behind us and packing up, not on paper. And a lot of strange things can happen the way that ball bounces on that wood floor.
Yeah, and you never know what can happen. And the way this team's playing with confidence, I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe steal a couple of games. And you talked about it, Coach. You add in 2 new guys who are really going to help this team, whether it be shooting, whether it be passing the ball with Ridnow or whatever it is. These 2 guys are going to help. I think it was a good trade. And when you have 4 in a row, you add 2 new pieces, you get 4 days off, you got to be feeling pretty good right now leaving the arena.
Well, I know I'll be tuned in. I hate we didn't get a chance to see the new guys play here before they went on the road, but I'm really curious to see how they're going to fit in and, again, see how the puzzle's going to look.
Yeah, and I think one thing, Al really emphasized it last night about the shooting of Gary Neal. He said that, he used to play against Gary Neal.
Hated him.
Didn't like playing against him because he saw, as he was playing that other team, he saw how much the big man benefited from having a guy like Gary Neal. So now he's going to have that guy on his team, and he's very excited. And, again, like tonight, when Al's struggling and he's being doubled and they concentrate so much on guarding Jefferson, you add shooters in the mix like Neal to go along with Tolliver, Kemba. That's going to open up the floor even more for this offense. So it's going to be fun to watch. And like you said, the Bobcats have started climbing the standings. They're in 7th, right there behind 5th and 6th. They got a chance to make some moves that they can continue playing like this with confidence.
We can't help it. We know it's off a little bit, but it's down that time of year where you're starting to watch what the other people are doing, checking scores around to see where you're fitting in there. Don't want to jump the gun too early, but still it's entertaining and interesting to see where you are in the standings and what the people are doing around you.
And for the first time tonight in the arena, Coach, they did a video during one of the quarter breaks talking about a playoff push for this team. A lot of people will say, I don't want to talk about the playoffs this early, and yes, it's tough to talk about that when you have so many games left, but I think it was kind of cool for them to show that video in this arena with a packed crowd, just to get the fans excited. I mean, your team's playing well. Why not talk about the playoffs? That just gets you pumped up even more when you come to this arena to pull for your team. So, yes, you don't want to talk about it too early because you don't know if it's going to happen. But, hey, let's get this crowd going. Let's get more people coming in this arena, and let's continue to try to keep winning games.
Just call the Bobcats at butter because they're on a roll right now. He's Dustin Phifer. I'm the coach, Dick Cox. We're going to be staying tuned to see what happens on these 3 games on the road there. We'll be back back with you after the Pacers game on Bowtie night on a Wednesday night coming up in just a little bit, though. But we'll see if who is this team we're
Panthers,
talking? The
Bobcats?
Panthers, the Bobcats, the Horncats, one of these teams that play here in Charlotte. We'll see if the Bobcats can keep it rolling. Until that time, follow them and look forward to seeing you back here when Indiana comes to town.
Should be fun to watch. I'll be really wanting to watch this trip to see how the Bobcats play with these good teams. It'll show how good they've gotten and how much they've improved over the year, and it should be fun.
And for Dustin Phifer, I'm the coach Dick Cox saying, go Duke.
Yes, sir. I'll take it every day of the week.